you guys. Let's do it. I think Rob doesn't have his headphones on. We'll see. Let's see where we are here. looking real comfortable right there.
I'm trying to look something up real quick for us.
Oh, no, we caught you. We caught you with your pants down, sir.
My apologies. Good thing I wasn't really doing anything.
Welcome back to Sports Day, you guys.
Woo! Hi. Yes, behind the scenes. All right. So, Tone, we talked about it yesterday, and this game absolutely lived up to everything we thought it was going to live up to. Boring, brutal, terrible, awful football. Yes, 16-13. Panthers beat or lost to the Bears. Chicago won it. The Panthers had a shot at the end to tie it with a field goal, but naturally came up short fitting to this game. But it was bad, man. I watched. So I was flipping around between that. What else was I watching? I was watching the college football game wasn't bad. It was Virginia and Louisville was okay. A little bit of NBA action. And I kept going back to it. Here's what I don't like. Here's what annoys me about Prime and when you're streaming, when you're trying to watch games on those kind of services. It's just hard because you got to get like all the way out of it, exit out. At least I do on my setup. And then it takes a while to get back into it if I want to watch something else. You know, that's why you got to do the laptop thing or the double TV thing and all that to watch. But nonetheless, it wasn't a good game. In fact, Adam Thielen after the game said the offensive effort was embarrassing. Here's the thing, Tony. I'm surprised it's looked this bad. Like, I didn't think Carolina was going to be good, but I didn't think it would look like this. And it's Frank Reich, and it's a lot of smart offensive minds, but man, it's been horrible there.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily expect it to look this bad either. I mean, look, they're very mediocre on the offensive line, and when you're that bad, it's so hard to be productive on offense, no matter who you have as weapon. But also, I didn't even know this. Wow, he's missed Laviska Shenault and DJ Chark were like out, like they're not even healthy.
Yeah.
Wow. So all he really has is Chuba Hubbard, Adam Thielen, and I can't even say Miles Sanders because Chuba Hubbard has jumped him on the depth chart. So you're right. I look at them as a team who has talent on the defensive side, right? Brian Burns, Von Bell, Xavier Woods. You know what I mean? They have some talent on the defensive side. Like their defense can keep them in some games, right? They have no offensive production consistently, and I'm looking at Bryce Young like I know the offensive line isn't playing their best, but you can't do anything.
Yeah,
like and I'm looking at Frank Reich like. What do they have this like? Are they really taking advantage of this guy's like skill set? Are they doing everything they can to get him easy throws?
I'll tell you here's what's worrisome. I've seen this from a couple of guys who are like film junkie, NFL pundit types watching him. They're saying that he's falling now into habits that he didn't have at Alabama because he's starting to get happy feet, bad habits. I mean, he's getting happy feet because he's getting so beat up and has so little time there that bad habits are starting to form. That's always the concern with a young guy is that he starts to get into some bad habits and he can't get out of it.
You can literally ruin a quarterback, and we saw how that looked when what's the guy that was coaching Urban Meyer, right? When he was coaching Trevor Lawrence, we saw how bad Trevor Lawrence looked, right? And I personally still believe Trevor Lawrence is still exercising some of those demons that Urban Meyer left behind, right?
Yes.
I think he's still shaking off the dust of that relationship. I mean, Doug Peterson has done an amazing job bringing him back from the dead.
Yeah.
Because Trevor Lawrence, when he came in, he was supposed to be like the second coming. You know what I mean? Yes. They talked about him like he was about to be football Jesus. So, you know what I mean? It was just for Doug Peterson to be able to find a way to revamp that guy, is tremendous. It's kind of disappointing to see, where Frank Reich's career has kind of gone. Right?
I agree.
He was in Philly, obviously, as the OC, won a Super Bowl. Then he goes to Indy, and things kind of look solid there.
Yep.
But then the Carson Wentz season was a blemish, and then they end up firing him. And then he gets the Carolina job, which I thought was a pretty good situation for him because he played there and got a new quarterback. But man,
Yeah, it hasn't been good. It has not been good.
For him to be as good of a coach as he's supposed to be, or as we think he is,
it should look better than this.
1-8. Let's look at their schedule really quickly, right? I'm glad we're here. Let's look at their schedule because it's not like they had to go up against it's not like they had to go up against world beaters like Atlanta, a winnable game. New Orleans, a winnable game.
Yep.
Seattle, okay, they're out your league. Minnesota, Minnesota's better than them. They're more talented than them. Detroit, obviously. Miami, obviously. Like they have no business being in those games. They beat Houston barely. Indianapolis, more talented defense. I don't know, man. I feel like they should at least be.
I agree.
3-5 or something.
Here's the other tone. Here's the other problem.
3-5 at least. Or
the fact that C.J. Stroud is tearing it up.
Excuse me.
Yeah, is tearing it up the way that he is. It's a bad look for Bryce Young. It's a bad look for Reich. It's a bad look for everybody.
Yeah, you passed on him. You passed on C.J. Stroud.
Well, you traded up. You traded up.
Where were they before?
They moved up a pretty. Was it?
They were 9th, right?
They were 9. Yeah, they moved up. They traded 2 firsts to get up there, which by the way, in a very weird way, Chicago beating Carolina helps Chicago get a better pick. Because Chicago
that's hilarious.
Owns that Carolina pick. You know what I mean? Normally, if you're a bad team like that, you're like, lose, get a better pick. Not in this case. You want to beat Carolina, if that's the case. That's strange. What a weird.
That was such a. How often do those situations happen?
Very rarely. Very rare. Anyway, let's keep it moving. That was just garbage.
Yeah. Right. That was just poor. I tried to watch a little bit of it, and I'm like, no, I can't do this.
The only thing, and I mentioned this to you earlier, like Jason Kelsey was excellent in the booth with them, with Michaels and Herbstreit, and the second he retires, he will be offered a big time
King's ransom. As soon as the moment he punches, the moment he signs that dotted line, ring. Hey, Mr. Kelsey. Hey,
exactly.
And don't be surprised if these networks try to get a piece of that podcast right now. It's going to be him and Travis Kelsey when they retire.
I agree.
Right?
With you. Yep.
They're going to be the hottest names on the market, right? People are going to throw so many different show concepts at them. The brothers Kelsey. The Kelsey cast. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
In my opinion, I think that would overshadow the main cast.
I would rather watch that. I would much
rather watch the Kelsey cast. They should pay me. I'm already coming up with the ideas, man. Pay me.
Yep.
Listen, man.
All right. So that was the only entertaining part of that game. So Jamar Chase is limited, but he's preparing to play. That's good news for the Bengals. We talked about how critical it is to get him back or have him playing. He hasn't gone away, but to have him playing for a team that's absolutely scorching right now are the Bengals. But you're going to have him playing. It looks like against the Texans, who you don't overlook the Texans. I'm telling you right now. So having him there will be good for them. This one was also interesting. So Wink Martindale has always had a reputation as being a player's coach, very open, very honest dialogue off the store. In fact, on Fridays, Tone, at 8:15, I think they practice at 9 on something like that, 9 or 10 o'clock on Friday mornings. I don't know. Mm-hmm. He has an 8:15 meeting with all of his players where they go over some stuff. And then at the end, he leaves a lot of time for them to speak up if there's anything going on. So Xavier McKinney, after the latest Giants, beatdown, said that he was disappointed and felt like his voice wasn't being heard. So when you hear that, and Wink Martindale was very honest when he was asked by the media about that, and he said, "I'm surprised. I'm hurt. I don't feel like that's the case. I in fact, I've always made time for my players to speak up and talk to me and blah blah blah."
Right.
What is interesting to me, and you could easily say, but he also said, "Hey, we talked and it's squashed and we're moving on." Stuff happens. But I thought it was interesting. Not one of his teammates, not one of McKinney's teammates backed him on that and said, "I feel the same way." Not one. Now, nobody put McKinney under the bus, but not one of them said, "I feel the same way about communication here." So, I think this is also what happens when your team stinks. Like this kind of stuff happens.
Yeah, that part. And also, it also could, Xavier McKinney, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's in a contract year right now. And, this could be a precursor for him trying to get his way out of there. Let me double check something on his contract because, the money always matters. So he's in a contract year. He'll be an unrestricted free agent by the end of the season. There are just some guys who just become disgruntled, and sometimes it's not something. Sometimes it's not even, the person they're talking about. Sometimes it's deeper than that, right? I doubt Wink Martindale is his problem. I doubt that.
Mhm.
I think he's a frustrated athlete in a frustrating situation, and he just feels like they should be better. Maybe he feels like he's not playing up to his standard. And sometimes guys tend to just blame everyone else around them. So again, they say they squashed it, so I'm gonna trust that. You know what I mean? No harm, no real harm, no real foul. They're all in a turbulent situation, and it's at some point something's going to leak out. When. So at some point, a car's going to leak oil. If you've been driving 10,000 miles and you know what I mean, things ain't really going.
It hasn't been highway miles either. It's been a lot of stop and start kind of miles.
A lot of stop signs.
Yes.
A lot of stop signs. A lot of broken street lights.
A lot of potholes. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So another frustrated player is Shaq Leonard. Shaq Leonard had an unbelievable start to his career in Indianapolis, but he went through 2 back surgeries repairing nerve damage, which I don't care what position you play or what sport.
If you go through 2 back surgeries, and you're a football player,
that ain't good. So his snaps have been decreasing. He basically turned into like a first and second down guy. Now they're even limiting the first and second down, and he's not happy. He's not happy with the Colts. He's not happy with his usage, and he's making it known that he's very disappointed in the way it's gone. I don't know. I haven't studied him enough to know if he's being wronged here or he's just a guy who hasn't recovered from very serious back surgery. That's the big question for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't really been following him too closely either. But according to PFF, his overall linebacker grade is 66.4. So I'm pretty sure that's below obviously where what he's used to playing at, the level he's used to playing at. Former second round pick drafted in 2018 out of South Carolina. Still a relatively young dude, man. It's unfortunate. As of right now, I'm looking at his contract situation. He signed a 5-year, $98.5 million deal with the Colts, with $52.5 million in total guarantees. He's in, I want to say, the second year of that deal. He's currently in the second year of that deal with a $15.7 million base salary, a $19.79 million cap hit with a $27.7 million dead cap hit. So cutting him this year is out of the question.
Yeah, that ain't happening. They better hope he heals up.
Yeah. Now next season they have a major out. They can get out of their contract easily.
Oh, they can.
Next season. So next year, if they decide to cut him at any point, there's only a $8 million dead cap hit. If I'm being, if
he's really there next year. Yeah,
if we're being objective, I wouldn't be surprised if they cut him actually next year.
Yep. Yeah. I
wouldn't be surprised. An $8 million dead cap hit.
Yeah, you can
a team eats that for lunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a snack for Howie. Yeah. Justin Jefferson won't return unless he's 100% smart. You got a hamstring. You're dealing with that. Don't rush it. And yeah, we've talked about this a lot. He's on the cusp of being the highest paid receiver that's ever played the game. Like that's where he's at. He will get the most money that a receiver's ever.
He'll get it.
Yes, he will get it. He'll 100% get it.
Now, let me ask you this real quick about Justin Jefferson. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because, in the NFL, it's not like the NBA where you get more money if you stay with the team that drafted you. It's not how that works in the NFL.
Yeah, the NBA's got the bird rule, which means you can pay your guy more with a cap. That's not that way in the NFL.
Now, where's Justin Jefferson right now in his contract? Because I'm curious to know something. I understand
he was the same year as Rager. So he's in his fourth. It should be his fourth year.
So he's going to be an unrestricted free agent in 2025. So he's in the 4th year of his rookie contract. They picked up his 5th-year option, obviously.
Right.
So he's supposed to be there in 2024. After this season, though, they're definitely going to have to negotiate with him for a contract.
That's where I think it gets done. It gets done or it doesn't get done. Like they're either going to get it done or he won't be a Viking in this offseason.
Now, here's the question, though. Do you take the money from them? Because I think with they first of all, they have no idea where their quarterback situation is going from here.
They don't. Because Cousins is probably gone no matter what, even with
right.
Yep.
And as a wide receiver, you want to know who's throwing you that ball before you sign the dotted line. You want to know.
Yep.
And with them not necessarily being sure where their quarterback situation is going to go, is there a chance that he maybe says, "Look, I have no idea. Like, what's the vision? What's the plan?" Because if you guys don't have a clear-cut plan or vision at that for that position, I'm not going to sit here and waste my career just making all that money is going to be great.
No, I think what you bring up is fair. Like
he's going to get the money from anywhere. Like I don't think money is the conversation. He's going to get the money no matter who decides to trade for him. Anybody would trade the King's ransom to get him, right? But also here's the thing. This is getting fascinating now. The more I think about it and the more I talk about it, because Justin Jefferson definitely going to get paid this offseason. What if the Vikings say, listen, we can probably retool this roster faster if we trade him. We could probably get a lot for him.
Yeah,
and they can get out having to pay him. It'll provide them more flexibility on offense, rebuild that offensive line. And again, I'm not saying Justin Jefferson is a player that you trade, but I'm thinking about the business now. I'm thinking about the Vikings in the long term.
Yeah. So
who are they just by paying a big time wide receiver and not having a quarterback? Who are they really?
Mm-hmm. Fair point. I think they will re-sign him, but you make a good one. Make a point there. You could load up. You get a lot of draft picks. You could maybe get your quarterback if you move him. The risk for him is not signing it in the offseason is you get hurt. That's it. I mean, it's as simple as that. You get a career season-ending injury, and you change life changing. Like to me, if you're happy living in the air, like there's a lot of things that obviously like a human end of it that go into it. Of course. He loves living there. He likes the culture of the city. Whatever, I don't know.
And that city loves him.
And the city loves.
And also the team, they generate a lot of money based off his presence.
Correct.
So
jerseys, the whole nine. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So there's so many different angles. There's so many different angles you can really approach it from in terms of what are the Vikings thinking, right? Are they just focused on their bottom line? If so, they'll pay them and keep people in the seats while they figure it out.
Yep.
Are they focused on the long term and they say, look, we don't know what our quarterback situation is. We got to get better on the offensive line. We need more talent on defense. Are we going to cut our nose to spite our face here just to sign a guy that's going to keep people in the seats, but we still don't know what our vision is long term?
Yeah.
It's either way, Jefferson's going to get his money, but I think the Vikings, I don't think it's a clear-cut decision the Vikings have to make. I don't think it's as simple as, just pay him. I don't think it's that simple.
I don't
because also they have Jordan Addison.
Yes, who's a stud.
So maybe they say, hey, he's shown us what he can do. I don't know. Maybe like this it's going to be fun to watch the Vikings this offseason. It's going to be fun.
It is. Sure is. How about the Browns and the Ravens? And let's get to some of the other games that we haven't gotten to that are good matchups here. This game's in Baltimore.
Physical game.
5-3 Browns. Deshaun Watson, he's back. 7-2 Ravens. This game, Ravens are 6.5-point favorites in this one. Game in Baltimore.
That's too much.
I would grab the 6. I would grab the 6.5. I would. Yeah, I would. I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Ravens ultimately win, but I think this is a beat down, fun. That's the kind of game, Tone, that you talked about earlier, where you don't have to worry about the Eagles. Let me just sit back and watch these two just beat the snot out of each other, man. Honestly, like that would be fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. The Browns, man. See, the Browns defenses. So these are going to be like the two best defenses in the NFL duking it out. And I think this game is going to be low scoring, and I think it's going to come down to who has the ball last. And who did you say you had winning this game?
I think the Ravens win, but I would take the points with Cleveland. I think it's a field goal kind of game.
Right. Deshaun Watson's back. You know what?
Yes,
I'm gonna.
yes.
You know, I'm gonna be contrarian, and I'll take the Browns.
Okay. Oh,
I'll
take
take
the Browns.
I'll take the Browns in that game. I'll be the contrarian, and you know we'll take the Browns. I'll take
Okay.
the Browns.
All right. I like
And
that
we'll,
one.
we'll talk about it.
Okay. Well, let's hop around a little bit. Now I'm going to give you these two because I think there's some interest, but it's also the Sunday night and the Monday night game. All right. So let's go to the Sunday night game first.
Okay.
The Jets and the Raiders. Jets, are coming off that loss on Monday night, 4-4. Still have the outside shot. Raiders I think are just interesting now with Antonio Pierce. He's lightened the mood a little bit in there. It has sort of a Sixers feel to it. He put Aiden O'Connell, the rookie, is the starter. They moved on from Jimmy G. Mm-hmm. Vegas is a 1-point favorite in this game. I like the Raiders here. I think the Raiders ride that momentum, that wave that they picked up last week after making that move.
Agreed. It's no debate for me. I'm taking the Raiders in this game as well. They have new life. Also, if you think about the standings right now, I understand the Raiders are 4-5, but in terms of that final wild card spot, the Bengals are 5-3. I mean, I don't see the Bengals really dropping too far, but at 4-5 at this point in the season, you still kind of have some life. Can you find a way to sneak in at the back end? Who knows? I don't think they will, but I think they're going to be a team that continues to fight through everything because they're still not out of it, man. There's so many teams who are 4-4 and 4-5. Look, the Bills are 5-4. Like let's call it what it is. So the Raiders, even though I don't think they're going to make the playoffs in the end, they're going to play tough. They're going to play hard. They got new life with Antonio Pierce, Devontae Adams. Those guys are playing more free. You got the young guy that they're trying to build up and find out what he has. That defense is playing faster. I think the Raiders win that game as well. The Jets can't generate enough offense. They just can't. No. They can't generate any
until Zach Wilson shows me. I'm not buying into it
until he shows you.
Prove me wrong. All right, Broncos have shown a pulse now. In fact, they beat the last time they played before they had the bye week. They beat the Chiefs. They're looking better under Sean Payton. Russell Wilson quietly having a pretty good year, even though nobody's really talking about it.
Yeah, he's steady this year. He's not. Yeah, he's not blowing you out. He's not blowing you out the water stat wise, like just in bunches. But he's just been a steady flow of production.
Now the Bills are 5-4. The Bills haven't won consecutive games since October 3rd. Since consecutive October 3rd, weeks 3 and 4. Yes. So it's been a long time. This game's in Buffalo. Buffalo's a 7-point favorite in this one. Do you think this is a coming out party for the Bills? Do they look like themselves again, or would you lean towards a closer game in this one?
I'm not trusting that spread at all. I think the Broncos. I understand the Bills are at home. I get that. I understand Josh Allen is that bull. They got Stephon Diggs, right? But the Broncos, like you said, they've kind of stabilized some things. They're in a 2-game winning streak. They're playing confident right now. They were on a bye this past week. They beat the Chiefs the week before, so they're pretty confident right now. I'm taking the Broncos in this game. It's something with the Bills. It's something with the Bills I just don't like. They got a lot of injuries on the defense side of the ball. I don't trust the Bills right now. I like the Broncos in this game. I think the Broncos can edge them out.
Okay, interesting. I like the Bills to win. I'm not really trusting the Bills in a blowout, though. This might be. I'm liking a lot of underdogs here in terms of if you're looking at it from the gambling perspective. I probably would grab the Broncos and the points with the Bills winning the game. So that's where I fall on that one because the Bills can't go to 5-5. Their season's probably over if that's the case. So I'll take Buffalo at home in that one. They are 4-1 at home. All right, let's look at our power rankings here, Tone, for the QBs. It's always fun to revisit these. A couple weeks later. It's always good to do them about every 3-4 weeks. Somewhere in that neighborhood. Because let's face it, things change. And I always look at it. I don't know about you. My formula is always a little bit of everything. There's a lot of ingredients that go into the the stew that I'm making here. Mm-hmm. So it's how are you playing this year for sure? How do I maybe project you to play a little bit as we go forward? And some of it is based off of your track record, like a Mahomes, for example. But all right, you want to jump in first? Go 5-1. Work your way up.
5-1.
5-1. Yep.
So like you, I try to factor everything in. I try to factor in wins. I try to factor in strength of opponent. I try to factor in obviously their own personal stats and all that kind of stuff, turnovers. But I try to factor all those things in. So my number 5 quarterback. This may be hot takey. This may be prisoner of the moment. But I like CJ Stroud at 5. CJ Stroud is my number 5 quarterback in the power rankings right now. When I'm looking at what CJ Stroud is doing right now, I mean, let's be honest. How can you really deny the amount of production this rookie, and I think that's another thing too. He's a rookie doing what he's doing on the season.
You can throw the R word out the window, man, with the way he's playing.
That's true. The way he's playing. Listen, on the season, he's completing 62% of his passes, a little below league average. He's going to get that up though as he progresses. He's a young guy, so but over 2,200 passing yards, averaging over 8 yards in attempt, 14 passing touchdowns, only 1 interception, 102.9 passer rating. I really like CJ Stroud. I love the way he plays. I love his poise in the pocket. I love how he's elevating guys like Nico Collins, Tank Dell. There's another guy on that roster that's playing really well with them. Another wide receiver. Also like
Robert
Dalton
Woods
Schultz.
there, I think. Yeah.
I love what DeMeco Ryans is doing with this kid. I'm just a real big CJ Stroud fan. I'm looking forward to seeing the CJ Stroud Trevor Lawrence matchups over the next 10 years, 2 times a season. That's going to be amazing. Yep. It's funny. I was torn between Trevor Lawrence and CJ Stroud, but CJ Stroud is just killing him from a personal stat perspective. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence has a better record. But I think I'm just enamored with CJ Stroud right now. So I'm gonna take him at 5. Joe Burrow is at 4 for me. Now, Joe Burrow, he did have a slow start to the season. You know, we're not going to pretend that didn't happen. But right now on the season, he's completing almost 67% of his passes, just over 1,800 passing yards, which is a little low for him at this point in the season. But 12 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, a 90.6 passer rating. They're on a 4-game winning streak right now. They beat Buffalo, they beat San Fran, they beat Seattle, and they beat the Cardinals. Obviously, the Cardinals isn't the impressive win, but to beat Seattle and then San Fran on the road, and at Candlestick, and then you beat Buffalo. Oh yeah. Those are some pretty good wins, and he's carrying that team. They have no running game, so I really like what I'm saying from Joe Burrow. The redemption tour is definitely back, and they're 5-3. I like what I'm saying from Joe Burrow. I like him at 4 in my top 5 quarterback power rankings through 9 weeks. Yep. At number 3, this may be hot takey, but at number 3, I'm putting Patrick Mahomes there. I like Patrick Mahomes at 3 for this reason. I understand he is who he is. He's the baby goat. No one is indicting his entire career. But he is
the baby goat.
But he's ranked 3rd in the league in passing yards, which I like right now. He's still managing. He's still finding a way to put yards on the board, even though he doesn't really have any weapons at the wide receiver position.
Yep.
He's completing 68% of his passes, just over 2,400 passing yards, 17 passing touchdowns, 8 interceptions on the season, 96.7 passer rating. He's doing everything he can to keep this team competitive. But I still believe there are just 2 guys that are just playing a little bit better than him, or guys that I would take. Again, he's very productive. Don't get it twisted. 17 touchdowns is great. 8 interceptions. That takes away from it just a little bit. But I like him at that 3 spot. My 1 and 2, I've been torn, and in order to not sound like a homer, I'm putting Jalen Hurts at 2. I'm putting him at 2. I would have put him at 1, but again, I want to try to be as unbiased as I possibly can. Jalen Hurts has been really productive over the past few weeks. He's having a really big year passing the ball. Let me make sure I got these numbers correctly here. On the season, he's completing almost 69% of his passes. Just over 2,300 passing yards so far through 9 games, averaging almost 8 yards in attempt, 15 passing touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He does have 10 total turnovers on the season, 2 fumbles lost, and 8 interceptions. But he's kind of balancing that off with the 15 passing touchdowns. And he also has on the season, let me make sure I got this right. On the season, I believe he has 8 rushing touchdowns. I'm sorry, 7. He has 7 rushing touchdowns on the season. So grand total, he has 22 total touchdowns on the season and 10 total turnovers. He's having a career year in terms of completion percentage, like I mentioned. And also he's had some pretty significant victories against the Dallas Cowboys, against the Miami Dolphins. He's turned contenders into pretenders. He's the most clutch quarterback in the NFL. He leads the NFL in he leads the NFL in completion percentage, passing touchdowns, and the least interceptions when his team is tied or behind. So arguably right now he's the most clutch quarterback in the NFL. He's also on pace for a career year in all his passing numbers, career year in completion percentage. He's on pace for just over 4,400 passing yards, on pace for 28 passing touchdowns. And he's on pace for 15 interceptions, which I don't think he's going to have. I don't think he's going to hit 15 interceptions. So he's just having a great year right now, and his team is 8-1. Got to give credit where credit is due. And number one, I'm going Lamar Jackson, man. Lamar Jackson is just playing out of his mind right now. He leads the league in completion percentage. He does only have 9 passing touchdowns, but to couple with the 9 passing touchdowns, he has 5 rushing touchdowns. So that puts him at 14 total touchdowns. He doesn't have the most touchdowns, but he's not turning the ball over. I think he only has on the season 5 turnovers on the season, 3 interceptions, and 2 fumbles lost. So he's been protecting the ball, passing the ball well. Again, he's been very accurate. He's not losing them games. And I think more than ever, and also the 440 rushing yards, got to give him credit where credit is due with that, coupled with the 1,900 passing yards. Yeah. He's just playing well. The number 1 defense in the NFL. They have the best record in the AFC. I really like what Lamar Jackson's been doing. I would have put Hurts 1, but I don't want to sound like a homer. I want people to take my list seriously. So I'll put Jackson at 1, Jalen Hurts at 2, Patrick Mahomes at 3, Joe Burrow at 4, and CJ Stroud at 5.
Okay. All right. Good list. Very good list, man. Good explanations for each. I'll do mine in a Cliff Notes version here. Work up from 5. Let's work up from 5. I got 2 at 5. Now, 2 earlier in the year would have been a slam dunk for 1 or 2 here, and he's still leading the NFL in touchdown passes. Really impressive. But I've watched him against the best competition look okay to solid. He didn't light the world on fire against the Eagles. He didn't do it against the Bills, and he didn't do it against the Chiefs.
Yeah. So I think I hold that against him a little more than you. Obviously you have him 5, right? But I really hold that against him, and also the way they play. He throws the spots. He's not throwing guys open, and that kind of
That's fair. That's fair. All right, so he's 5. I have Jalen at 4, which is crazy because they're 8-1. But the turnovers hurt him when he's got 11 right now. I double checked that. They say he's only lost the fumble twice, and he had 8 interceptions, so that's 10. Okay. I don't think they're counting the bot snap at the goal line against them. All right, even 10. 10's too many right now. For 9 games. It's more than a turnover per game, which I believe that will be cleaned up. I truly do believe that. Let me be clear. And he's already started. You don't see the picks as much now. Right. So, and again, I always, me, Tone, I always point this out with Jalen. It's not just passing touchdowns, although 15 is impressive. You got to look at his rushing touchdowns too, because that's the full package of what he brings to the table. Not his fault. He's been limited running because he's hurt. But it does come into account a little bit. I think he's trending that he's going to be like number 2 at some point if we revisit this in about 3 or 4 weeks. But right now, because of the slower start in the passing game and the running numbers not being quite as impressive in some of the red zone issues and the turnovers, that's why I have him at 4. But that could change quick.
That's reasonable. I get it.
Yeah. I have Burrow at 3. Look at the last 4 weeks. He's totally into Joe Burrow mode. It's a different ball game with him. He's red hot right now. So yeah. It's just I'm trying to take everything into account now, and I can't hold as much against him early because I do think he was legitimately hurt, and that comes into play for me a little bit. Lamar Jackson's number 2, and the only reason I don't have him at 1 is I guess I'm still so beholden to Mahomes. In fairness, I know. I get it. I can't. I have visions of the Super Bowl dancing in my head, and I wish I didn't have those visions dancing in my head. I hope I could get those visions out of my freaking head at some point. But anyway, I love the way Lamar has come on here. And again, there was a lot of people saying, all right, you gave him all the big bucks. Well, let's see it. And I know that the knock is we still have to see it in the postseason for Lamar. I get it. But I'm going off of what I'm seeing from this guy so far, and I think he's in command of what's going on with them. And Zay Flowers was a great addition. Mark Andrews is a totally legitimate tight end and a beast, and all those good things. So I have him at 2. I know Mahomes' numbers aren't what we're generally accustomed to. Like 17-8 is just okay. It's for him. But he's still 3rd in touchdowns. Still pretty good. He's got he's completing 68.6, just a darn good number. You believe Josh Allen's completing 71% of his passes? I'm shocked by that, for what it's worth. Not that has anything to do with anything.
I mean,
I'm very surprised.
He still throws the touchdown. I mean, 71%. I think it's career high for him, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. But he's got 9 picks. That's the problem. But anyway, Mahomes has 8.
It comes with the territory, though. When they throw the ball a lot, so
and he's willing to be. He's a straight up gambler. He'll do things that you can't believe, but then he makes mistakes. Anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked, but right. I have Mahomes there, and some of this is based off of the past. Some of it isn't necessarily what we've seen so far, and I'm projecting a little bit about where he's going to go. So, like I said, I do a little bit of a stew of everything. Let me get a write-in vote. It's C.J. Stroud. I'm writing him in just underneath the cutoff point, because when you got 14 touchdowns to 1 interception as a rookie learning this league on the fly. Yeah. I give this dude
it's impressive
props. Unbelievable props.
That's why he made my 5, because it's so impressive, right? And real quick, I'm looking at our list. Real quick, run through your list, top 1 through 5 again.
Okay, yeah. 2 of 5, Jalen 4, Burrow 3, Jackson 2, Mahomes 1. Write-in vote for C.J. Stroud, just on the outside looking in.
So our top 4 are the same guys, just a little mixed matched.
Yes. And the only difference is Stroud. We just flipped Stroud with Tua, right?
Right. We flipped Stroud and Tua, but I would put who was your write-in vote again?
Stroud.
Okay, so Stroud, and my Tua wouldn't even be my 6.
Okay, who's your 6?
My 6. Well, I told you I flirted between Trevor Lawrence and
Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Okay.
And look, I understand Tua is leading the league in touchdown. I get that. I totally get it. But I've been watching them play over the past few weeks. I'm not impressed with him when the going gets tough.
Yeah, I'm with you. I held that against him. That hurt him.
Yeah, I hold it against him heavily. Trevor Lawrence, they're winning. I don't know, but regardless, though, I think especially when it comes to our top 4, it's about it's really your flavor of the week. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, do you like butter pecan? Do you like cookies and cream? But it's your flavor of the week. I'm never going to be mad at somebody having Jalen Hurts at 4. I have him at 2. Somebody might have him at 3. I'm not going to be mad if someone has Patrick Mahomes at 1 or Lamar Jackson. It's really all these guys are really having very good seasons, and also all these guys are, turning the ball over,
a lot.
It's a lot.
Some of it's the nature of the beast, man.
It's the nature of the beast. They're all throwing the ball. Really quickly, because I know we got to go to break. I've just been really impressed with the fact that Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball more. And obviously, again, you throw the ball more, interceptions come with the territory. I like how he's responded to it, and he's showing that he can. He's showing that he can win games from the pocket.
Totally.
And that's mainly what he did in that
and what was
Washington
all
game.
The critics want to throw that at him. Oh, you can't do anything from the pocket. Okay, take a look at this year.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Well said, man. All right, let's hit it. Let's come back. We'll swing it back to the Sixers Flyers. Giannis goes off, but it doesn't matter last night. I'll even mix in a little women's college hoops for you, Tone.
Okay, let's do it.
Before we get out of here. So we got all that to do. Rolling into our final segment on this Friday. Don't go anywhere. Tone and Rob, we are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Right back.